everyone, welcome to Light Up Talks, where we shine a light on inspiring stories and the amazing people creating a change. I'm very excited today because I'm with an amazing woman, and her name is Sam Goddard, and she's here to share her journey and her mission and her commitment with the community. She's founder of Seaside Sippers and Seaside Hearts Foundation. And yeah, I'm here really excited to know more about her and what she's planning for the community. Hi, Sam.
Hello. Thank you for coming into my house.
You're welcome.
And helping me tell my story. Yep.
Beautiful. What inspired you to start Seaside Hearts Foundation?
When I was 2018, I was unfortunately diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So that kind of put a bit of a tailspin on my life at that point. Things kind of went a little bit upside down, and because I now live with an autoimmune disease, it's inspired me to go from Seaside Sippers that I've started to then segue onto the Seaside Hearts Foundation, something that is a bit more meaningful and has purpose and fulfillment while still creating these beautiful, fun events. Mm-hmm. So this will personally, it will give me purpose, but it will also help people that are out there that struggle with other conditions.
So you took your journey, your condition, and you transformed into something positive.
Yeah, pretty much.
For yourself and the community.
Yeah, just because I've seen, I guess, how the other half can live, having time in hospitals and meeting people at their absolute lowest. And I myself have to go to hospital every 6 weeks to have treatment. So every 6 weeks, I'm meeting all these different people that are just everyday people in the community out there having time away from their kids, their work, coming in, having medication, and then just going back out to work and doing their daily things. So I've seen how the other half live, and not all diseases are visible. So it is amazing to learn. People say that, but it's amazing to actually become one of those that you can't see the disability that I have, but yet I have a disability. So I think it's putting it on the map a little bit, sharing my story, my journey. And it felt like building this foundation was the right thing to do. That I think this is the right thing to do.
And also open a space so people can talk more about it if they also have the same condition and maybe something else.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people. I haven't looked up the statistic, but there's a lot of people here that battle multiple sclerosis, and a lot of people that are young like myself, and we're busy parents, or we're trying to navigate starting a family. That is terrifying when you have an autoimmune disease and you need to be on medication, and navigating that world is horrible. You go off the meds and everything can go upside down. You stay on the meds and you run the risk of what the positives and benefits are. So there's a lot of people out there that are in the same boat as me. So I hope that by sharing my story, and this will be the first time I've shared it, and I've been living with it now for 6.5 years, and going public with it. 6, crazy. Since my first one was born. So I look at him and that's how long I've had it. And sharing the story, I hope it reaches a few different people out there that resonate with that, and maybe they can reach out to me. We can go for glass of wine, coffee, whatever they like, and share some ideas maybe. I don't know.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And how has MS changed the way you see life, motherhood, your goals?
It's made me, I think, look at life from a different perspective. So I remember being in the hospital many a times, and a lot of doctors saying, how are you so positive about it? And a few of them made comments that I'm a glass half full kind of gal. So I tend to see life the other way around, where it could have been a lot worse. There could have been so many other diagnoses that I could have had that would have been terminal, a lot more life impacting, impacted me having children. This does not impact me having kids. So if that got taken away from me, this would have been a whole different story. So because I still had that control, I felt more in control as a person, but It's totally made me see life completely different. I just have so much more sympathy for people that are out there. I wasn't as empathetic before. And I think because I got diagnosed at a young age, it's impacted who I am. I'm not an older person that's lived most of my life and become this person. It happened when I was 26, so I was very young.
Wow.
And I had my first baby, so that's when I became a mother, and that's a major milestone in life. So it's become who I am and who I've grown up to be, I think.
Your emotions and
It's connected everything together, really. And what my goals are. So for Anthony and I, like, what are our goals in life now? Because it's hard to tell what kind of life you can have in the future when you have an autoimmune disease. You know, I'm healthy now, but you never know. Those things can sneak up on you and can impact your mobility. So it makes you live more in the moment, a bit more impulsive.
Maybe that's what we all should be doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting.
Yeah. Not live every day, but
Yeah.
we don't save all of our money. We do a lot of family holidays. We enjoy ourselves. My husband buys a lot of cars. I go crazy with event planning because it's really fun, but we're a little bit impulsive. Yeah, definitely.
Anthony,
Yes.
how has Sam's journey changed your life as a husband, and watching her having this diagnosed with MS changed you as a husband and a father to be?
Yeah, I don't know if it's changed me. I think you're gonna always be there. You know, you'll always be there, and that you want to do things now rather than, wait. You know, like a lot of people want to, plan. I want to go on holiday next year. You're like, fuck it, let's do it now. Because what happens? Something happens next year and you can't do it. That's the way I look at it. I might as well do everything now. And then I'm the same. Like if something happens to me, especially this year, I've been injured more times than I can remember. And I think, shit, if something happens to me, at least we can do it now while we're both in good health. I'm going down the path of just being a medical case every second week. So it's all fun. It's all fun and games, until something happens. And then we deal with it. So it is what it is. Yeah.
And dealing with it emotionally.
Yeah, emotion. I'm not very good with emotions. So I'd rather go to the anger side or bury it away rather than talk about it, because it's just easier, rather than going out. I've been through, seeing psychiatrists and for dealing with anger, and that's just the way, my body goes and my mind goes, rather than dealing with the sadness of things. You just go, fuck it, let's argue about it. That's it, yeah. That's it. It's a lot easier. A lot easier to get angry than it is to get sad. Because you can't protect yourself when you're sad, can you? But no one's going to come at you when you're angry, ever.
And what has been the hardest part for you watching Sam getting diagnosed, and how you supported her?
Is that she got diagnosed, not me. That was probably the hardest part, Sorry, I might cry. It's the hardest part. Yeah, watching someone else go through it.
It's easier if it's us, not someone that we love. And you were always there for her. And how important it is to show our emotions, especially as a man, and to really release the emotions.
Yeah, easy to show anger, isn't it? Than showing sadness. Like men are always, you got to show your strength and stuff, and you don't want to show your weakness to people. But in life, especially nowadays, you can do that, and people, still show you respect for who you are. Doesn't matter what emotions you're showing. Don't get me wrong, I can be sad, but I can still be strong.
What would you say for men going through the same situation, similar situation as you, at the beginning of it all?
You got to look at the brighter side of everything. Just think you're going to deal with it, and then you're going to keep dealing with it, and then whatever comes, you deal with it, and then you get stronger, and then it's just do what you can when you can, and deal with the shit times when it's a shit time.
What's your medicine to keep yourself strong in this situation? Now you're a father of two.
got to be the kids. You always be strong for the kids, even though they wind you up. You always be strong for them, because they're going to grow up. You know, they might have to deal with something in their lifetime. You know, so you want them to show that you can do this. You know, it's not, you know, nothing gets too hard that you have to walk away from it. Yeah, put your big boy pants on and keep going.
And how has this experience brought your family together?
I think knowing that this disease isn't going to go away, I'd try to just do everything now, and much to, you know, everyone's opinions on situations and what we do and how we do it. I don't care about what they think. You know, I want to do everything now while we can, rather than in the future that, you know, it's not going away. So if there is a time there when, you know, Sam is in hospital or whatever it may be, then at least we can look back on the memories that we had.
And dealing with the kids, how is the conversation? Do they know?
Yeah, the kids understand to a point. You know, they are still young, so they understand that Mum goes to hospital every 6 weeks, and, you know, she has to get needles, they call it. But yeah, they're slowly learning. You know, not everyone. You know, 99% of people don't ever go through this. You know, so we'll see. You know, they talk about it to their own knowledge, but yeah, you know, as they get older, they'll learn more and more, and then and then there'll be a lot of understanding of the situation that Mum and Dad are in, and that, you know, they'll be sympathetic towards it, I hope.
And this situation changed the way you see life?
Oh yeah. You know, like I've been saying, I want to just do things now. You know, do it while we can. You know, there'll be a time there when we can't, and I say that to a lot of people. You know, you might as well, you know, make hay while the sun shines. So yeah, enjoy life.
What moments with Sam have you made the most proud to watching her
Moments.
journey?
2 babies, mate.
Wow.
That was it. That's it. What more do you want? You know, those kids, that's yours. You know, you made that. That's just, that's it. That's life, isn't it? Yeah. You know, a lot of people don't want children. You know, like that's up to them. But, you know, that is the proudest they will be. So.
And she made this this happen.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow,
That's it,
incredible.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's it. Very proud.
I'd been doing the Seaside Sippers thing for a good year and a half, and it's been good fun. I've kind of found my way with, so I don't work Monday to Friday in the daily grind just to try and balance my health. I kind of do the hours I can do and run around after the kids. But doing events has been fun, and I've found my passion, and I've dragged you along to all of my events to help. He's ticking off names at the door. But then recently I've been trying to figure out, how can I give back? Hey, because I've been talking about volunteering and this and that, and how can I do it while still being a busy mum? So then I had this idea, what if I create a foundation where I still get to do these amazing fun events, tasting, catering, this and that, but as opposed to a Seaside Sippers event, it becomes an event that's run by the Seaside Hearts Foundation, and the profits from that event will go to the organisation that I pick. So that way I get to do these beautiful events, but then that money goes back to somebody that needs it. Just because of what we've seen, we want to give back. We're always giving back. You give back to heaps of charities through work, what they're writing for the disabled and wherever we can for the kids and stuff, hey? Anything to do with kids we give back, but this felt like a good way, this feels like a good way to do it, I think. Yeah. Keep doing events, but doing it that way, eh?
Good fun to get involved with it, you know. Something different, you know, charitable rather than what...
A business.
Yeah, rather than a business where we're literally there to make money, you know.
So that's
what it is, you know. So going out there to raise money for other charities would be awesome, you know.
Well, that was the thing. Anthony's a businessman. He's very in the market to go out there, do a service, make money, run a business, pay for the mortgage. Where I was doing it, but something felt off. So then I was like, I want to do this though. I want to have purpose. I want to run events. This is a fun job. But then I wanted to give back. So the foundation just seemed to bring it all together in a nice little package. So we'll see where this adventure takes us.
where we can, and Sam's starting up this foundation now. It'd be awesome to support her and then put money back into that, and then see her sponsor different charitable organisations, rather than just coming from some trade companies. So it'd be nice to see it happen.
I think we're trying to find the balance, aren't we, between navigating success in business, but then also bringing yourself back down to earth and humbling yourself a little bit. So giving back feels good. It feels good to give.
Oh, it does, yeah.
It feels good, and people benefit off it, so it's a win-win.
And it always feels better, feels better giving a present to someone than it does receiving something, doesn't it?
Yeah,
just to
100%.
see someone else smile.
So we're just going next level with it. But what kind of things do you give back for the business?
Oh, we give back to everyone. Everyone that will ask. We've got the kids can, the Wish for Fish being local. Riding for the disabled. We've got that local school that the boys go to.
A fire truck?
Fire truck, yeah.
That he impulsively brought, much to my dismise, for charity.
Things you do, though, isn't it?
So we've got the food run coming up. Yep, so we'll help with the food run, go around the neighbourhood with the siren blaring, collecting food cans.
Yeah. It'll be good fun.
So there's a lot of money in the Bay. There's a lot of money here, and they're sitting on it. And they've got these big successful houses, and they kind of sit in these, what's the old saying, sit in these glass boxes.
A lot of 99.9% of business owners won't give back. They just don't want it. It's their money. They will make it and they'll spend it how they see fit. So giving money away to anyone is not on there. It's not on them.
And I'm noticing that through events, trying to reach out to sponsorship and stuff, people are just like, no, they don't want to give back.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating, because as a small business owner, we're not that big, we give back so much.
It's amazing to see.
So we hope people
see
follow
it.
suit.
And you find out who's in charge of these businesses, and there's no chance of giving back, and you're just like, wow.
It's a bit sad.
If I see you drowning in the ocean, man, I'm not going to help you.
Well, we hope that we're going to change the demographic for it, and that it will make people think twice, because you don't need to give a lot; just a little bit goes a long way.
And younger, we're younger businesses too. Younger business owners, and a lot of people we're dealing with they're older. We're run by multiple older people, and by older I mean 50 plus, but they're still old. To me they're still old. So they don't want to spend their money or give it away. They'd rather save it. Each to their own. If we're all the same, it'd be a boring old world. It does. It makes you feel good. It makes you happy to everyone around you. So everyone sees that. People that you're dealing with see that, and then they see the other side, and it's not going so good. But
so we hope that with the foundation that
we can just feel good all the time.
Well, we can have fun events.
Yeah.
We can get a couple of real good sponsors for these events. We can curate the events with the sponsors in mind, and make a lot of money, and then that charity that we pick. There you go. Do good. That's our little goal, eh?
Yeah. Be good fun.
Be good fun. So when I first got diagnosed, I remember sitting in A&E. So we went to the hospital for my 16-week antenatal appointment. We rocked up, we went to the hospital, expecting to just see the midwife to just talk about the first steps for bringing a child into the world, essentially. Blood pressure, yada, yada, yada. And then everything happened because I had some strange symptoms. So I had tingling in my feet, numbness down my left side, my vision would space up and down. So when we told the midwife this, she panicked and she disappeared. We were in the hospital in Brisbane at that point as well. We were in the Brisbane Women's and Children's Hospital, Royal Women's Hospital. The midwife ran away. She left the room for about 40 minutes before she came back, which we thought was incredibly rude. And then by the time she came back, what we didn't realise, she was behind the scenes trying to find a way to get us admitted, because she didn't tell us, she knew something was going on with my body, hey. We just thought I'd pinched a nerve, or I had we'd done a bit of Googling, and we just thought that I had the early symptoms of preeclampsia or gestational diabetes, hey? Because it seemed like I had funny blood pressure from the symptoms of the vision spacing in and out. And then when they tried to send me to maternity, and maternity was a madhouse, everyone was birthing at that point. So they sent me to A&E. So we walked over to A&E, and A&E is interesting. Do you remember Cindy? I remember we sat in A&E for 10 hours. 10 hours, going from test to test to test to rule out that I didn't have meningitis. They thought I had meningitis because I maybe had an infection, which made me have some strange symptoms. They tested me for gestational diabetes, I was clear. Preeclampsia, I was clear. Any pregnancy-knowing condition, I was clear. Then they started to say, over the space of hours and hours, CT scan to see if I had a clot in my brain, which was causing my vision to go funny and causing me to go blind. Did I have a brain tumour? Did I have this? Did I have that? It was crazy, eh? But then the interesting side of A&E is all the crazies that come through. And so because we were in there for so long and I was pregnant, the nurses were lovely because we didn't know what was wrong with me. And as soon as the sun goes down in A&E, all the interesting people come out. So all the people that are a little bit more drug dependent came out, and we just saw all walks of life, didn't we? People screaming because they wanted a hot meal, people coming in from fights, being out on the drink, this and that, eh? Yeah,
it's quite good fun actually.
People urinating on themselves. It was crazy. And then what happened? We got admitted into triage. So my CT scan came back clear, which was cool, eh? We were really excited about that. Everything came back clear. And I remember vividly sitting there thinking, everything's come back clear, let's go home. Then they took us to, do you remember triage?
Bits of. It was a long time ago, I'm getting old.
They took us to triage, the head triage, which is in A&E. If you come in and you're having a full break, a cardiac arrest, that's the biggest room in A&E that you go to. Everything's in there, the doctors can perform everything. So they took us into there, and the head of the emergency department sat us down and said, all your tests are coming back, you're good. And we're like, awesome, let's go home. Baby's good, I'm good, everything's fine. They're like, that means that if all your tests are coming back good, something's not right in your brain, and that we need to admit you because you are sick. We just don't know what's wrong with you. And so then it started, I think I get emotional. And then it started to kind of hit, didn't it? What's going on in my body? Because I think at one point they said maybe I had Huntington's or some other horrendous things. So they were some big things to throw at me. So I got admitted, and then I went up into neurology, which was interesting because there was a few funny things that happened in neurology. That was a very advanced ward. So they had the highest tech there in that hospital, and they had this magical bed that as soon as you sit on it, it's a magical hospital bed designed for pressure points. So as soon as you move, the bed goes psh, 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 psh. So it was horrible. It moved all bloody night, which was fascinating. I was in a 4-bay room with old lady opposite me that was like 98, some other person that lost their marbles that was like 80 plus, and then some old guy next to me. Old guy was lovely, wouldn't stop bloody chatting. But then the old lady next to me, she was so bloody old, and I think it hit me a little bit being in amongst all those people that there's something neurological. Am I one of those people, I think?
A lot of them were stroke victims too.
A lot of them were stroke victims, weren't they? And so we had test after test. He would have to go home at bloody 8 o'clock every night and then come back in at 8 a.m. So then at night I got left alone. A few strange things. I had this very, very cute neurologist that came in that decided that he needed to check parts of my body, and he put a finger at my bum. That was hilarious. As a 17 weeks pregnant and 26-year-old, that was hilarious. And then we had test after test. All the big juicy stuff got ruled out, so we were feeling positive, hey? And the midwives were coming up and checking the baby, and everything was looking good with the baby, so that's fine. They just need to see what was going on in my brain to cause me to have tingling and numbness in my feet. I had to have a lumbar puncture, which the whole concept of a lumbar puncture was absolutely terrifying, to put a needle, that bloody big in my... I think he watched it, eh? He just stood there and watched the whole thing. So as a pregnant person, lean over the bed, and then they stuck the giant needle in, and then that showed that I didn't have meningitis and the whole hospital wasn't infected, so the doctors were very happy about that. And then after that, MRI was the final step, eh? So by this point, the doctors had a fair idea of what I could have. So they had an MRI. So the lumbar puncture and the MRI essentially is a formal diagnosis for multiple sclerosis because it shows that you have bands on your spinal cord or something, certain bands. So I've got lesions on my spinal cord and in my brain, which you could see on the MRI as well. So we had a diagnosis. So I was in hospital for I had 3 days of prednisone to treat me because they could only give me so many drugs because I had a baby in my stomach. And then once I had the formal diagnosis, it was pretty much go home, which was pretty insane, eh? And then once you birth your child, come back and we'll start you on medication. So we left. And then what happened with the lumbar puncture? That was a bit of a blur for me because I remember I couldn't stand up. So when you have a lumbar puncture, they put a hole into your spine and they drain your spinal fluid. And generally the body naturally clogs the hole. It just...
And it didn't.
And there's a 15% chance when you have a lumbar puncture this could happen, and I had the rare side effect that the hole didn't naturally clot
It didn't clot.
It didn't clot. So I had the most insane headaches you can have on the pain scale. Apparently it's the worst pain you can have on the pain scale, like pressure headaches where it feels like your brain is going to explode. And essentially because there's a hole in your spinal fluid, the pressure in your body is out of rhythm. So your brain is trying to clog the hole. So it feels like your brain's trying to go down and out your spine. And I couldn't stand upright. I was walking sideways for I think I lasted 2 days, 3 days. Walking sideways, and I remember having a shower and having to walk sideways because every time I stood up, my whole brain was going to explode. So what do? We
went back.
So you called up the doctor, and what did you say to them?
See what was going on.
So Sam's broken.
Yeah, readmitted. We went back to ER, emergency, and then readmitted you, and then did the blood patch.
So they said do epidural blood patch. So they go in, take some blood from your body, go in and give you an epidural, knock you out, and then put blood back in the hole that should have naturally clotted. And it was like a light switch. And then, good. And then discharged back home. And then after that, I was okay for a few weeks. And then my vision started to deteriorate. So this was, in February I was diagnosed. I think it was around February 17th. And then Easter of 2018, I ended up getting readmitted because every week I started to lose my vision, a little bit by little bit. But it was so minuscule that I couldn't notice that I was losing my vision. It was so, and I ended up having to wear sunglasses at work because I couldn't see properly with all the lights. And so they ended up readmitting me, and then I had my first proper relapse, I guess. I had optic neuritis, so I had to have a 4-day dose of IVIG. Because they could only give that because I was pregnant, had that, went home. 2 weeks later, my vision turned back on. And then something happened with my health. My health deteriorated again, and then they were threatening to take the baby out at about 30 weeks pregnant. That must have been because I was blind, So I started to go very blind before the IVIG kicked in. And then the baby doctors started saying, this baby's big and juicy. And the neurologist doctors are like, her body's not doing very well. Maybe let's get this baby out at 30 weeks. And we were like, what is happening? Like, we've gone through such a journey to now have a preemie. Because then if they got the baby out, who was big and thriving, he was a big boy, and 30 weeks was okay.
They could treat the mother.
They could then treat, so they had 2 different patients there, me and the baby.
Yeah, quite amazing to watch
They had to segregate it.
Yeah, the different departments. As neurology wanted, Sam don't care about the baby.
No.
And then maternity wanted to look after the baby and not really the mother. So they had to talk to each other, and then they came to the conclusion that they're like, look, we'll wait. But Sam got better, and then booked it in for 38 weeks. 38 weeks induction, and
Yeah, because we thought baby's big enough, let's just get the baby out a little bit early, not risk her getting to full term.
Putting your
and
body
getting
under
to
pressure.
Exhaustion. So we got the baby out at 38 weeks, and he was fine. Natural delivery, got him out.
Next day,
Started on meds.
Started on meds, yeah.
When I could walk again because I was so exhausted after the delivery. And there's so many things you forget. Like you used to joke about how much we spent on parking.
Let's see, thousands.
Thousands. Every time we turned up,
fucking
$38 an hour, and we would probably be in there for 4 hours a time. Every time we turned up, and doing puzzles after puzzles in the hospital rooms.
Walking, and it's amazing
Walking,
because
pacing.
come the weekend, no one's in hospital. It's like no one gets sick on the weekend, so you're cruising around on the weekends and no one's there.
And we were always admitted on the weekends, eh? Always a long weekend, a bloody long weekend.
Which is good. It means there's a lot of people around.
Yeah.
A lot of nurses and doctors with not looking after anyone else. So it's all very...
And then after he was born, I started on my meds, which were successful, because it can take 3 goes to have your medication to not have a full anaphylactic shock and bloody die. So we were like, cool. That was pretty terrifying. So I took well to the meds. So I'm on immunosuppressants. So I'm immunocompromised. And I had them every 4 weeks for a year or so. And then now that my MS is very stable, I'm on every 6 weeks. And I'll have that till my body doesn't like it anymore. And I just have yearly MRIs, but besides that, we've got it pretty good under control. Now that the kids are older, it's a lot better. Babies are hard, being tired.
Yeah.
Fatigue is your enemy with MS, I think.
Yeah. On the outside, for me looking in, seeing the different departments looking after specific patients, like your neurology department looking after Sam and not the baby, and your maternity department looking after the baby and not the mother, and then seeing the general medicine who looked over all of it. But to see Sam being so vulnerable, I had to fight for her, which I didn't, like, that was what it was. You know, I'll stand up all the time, you know, whatever it is, I'm going to say my piece. And so there was certain situations along that, you know, that 30 weeks where, you know, you had to be quite forceful towards them, because what they thought was right, which is probably right in their eyes, but when you're taking into account all the equation, what they think is right, it's not right. You know, there was one time when the blood patch was healing, and they said she can't move. I think it was 2 hours or 3 hours or something. But she was in immense pain. That's probably the only time I've actually threatened to smash a doctor's face in before they could do something, you know. And you're not supposed to be medical staff. You're not supposed to get aggressive towards them. Sometimes you have to, you know, because what they think is right's not right. The midwife came in and rolled Sam.
I was lying, after you have a blood patch, you have to lie on your back dead still for 2 hours, and you're not allowed to move. But because I was pregnant, I shouldn't have been dead still on my back.
Because the baby was lying on, was it the left-hand side?
The baby was lying on a nerve.
Yeah.
So I was in like excruciating pain, and then all the doctors are coming and be like, just don't move, just don't move.
Yeah.
And it was horrendous. And they were giving me sleeping pills to try and make me feel better.
It was Tramadol.
Half a Tramadol, and then I just felt like I was floating. And then eventually you fought, and the midwives came up and were like, you're all idiots, put a pillow under her hip. And then it was just like a switch.
That was it. But like I flipped, you know, and they threatened to call security on me.
But that's trying to get the different departments to talk, isn't it? Like,
and it's the same still now, though. You know, hearing about, you know, what stepdad's going through, and you know what mum has to fight for him. It's just what it is. You know, they don't talk. They don't give a shit about the other side of it. They just deal with what's in front of them, and that's all that matters. Would you ever change it? Probably not. You know, that's what they want to do. Each doctor, nurse, they go and study what they want to study, and that's all they learn. You know, they don't.
I think they stick to their departments, don't they? But then when you
become a patient,
they don't want to
say the other thing, and then they're wrong.
You have to learn the system.
And what is life like now with MS and balancing your work, your lifestyle, your family?
Balance, I think that is the key word there, especially when you have 2 boys, a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. I think they control my life right now, where when I got diagnosed, I had control over the balance a little bit more maybe. But so I don't, like I've said before, I don't work the 9 to 5. I'm quite lucky. I can find the balance through doing events. So I can create these events when I want, as many as I want or as little as I want. I can pick days when I want to work, when I don't want to work. I sleep. So MS is affected heavily through fatigue. So if you're run down and tired, you sleep, you rest it off. If I'm run down and tired, my body can start to do crazy things. So I can start to get numbness in my hands, I can have flare-ups, I can have tingling in my face. If I push it to the point of exhaustion, I can relapse, which means off to hospital I go and I need treatment. So I have to find the balance to keep myself healthy and to become a good, healthy mum. So rest when you need to rest. For me and somebody that has MS, sometimes that can take a few days. We don't get to rest like the rest of you. Like, it takes a few days to recover and catch up. So constantly making sure that I'm on top of what my limits are as well. So you need to know what your limits are and know not to push it too far, I think. That's a big one. Which is hard again when you've got a 4-year-old that comes into your bed every night, but constantly finding balance, constantly searching, trying your best. Yeah. But I don't run at 100%, so I make sure I coast, because that fear, you don't want to you don't want to push it too far. You don't. So
and it is a big challenge, raising 2 little humans.
Yeah.
Being a mum is always a challenge for everyone.
Full on. And we've got babysitters. Anthony's there when I need him. His mum lives around the corner. So I'm not afraid to ask for help. Some people are, I'm not. I will always put my hand up and ask people to come take the kids for a night, play dates, yada yada. So that makes a difference. Were you always
like this?
I'm not shy. I don't think I'm shy by any means, but I do think it takes a village. It takes a community to raise a family. And when we got diagnosed with MS, we were in Australia. We didn't have that village. Our village was just our friends, which are great, but it's not your family. We're your family. You can call on unapologetically. It's guilt-free. Friends, it's different. We're back in New Zealand. We have our village close by. And the village will only come if you ask. You can't sit at home and complain. Totally. You need to ask for that village. And you'll be surprised at how many people will put their hand up. Especially other mums, they can relate. So I'm always asking for play dates and stuff. But yeah.
And what is Seaside Sippers and what inspired you to start it?
It's a funny little story. So last year, just over a year ago, I was personally looking for a wine club, a local wine club, a fun one, because I wanted to connect with other people. My babies were getting a little bit older. I felt like I could escape a little bit more. And I wanted to connect with other people and just have a glass of wine and have a little bit of food. That was literally all I was looking for. And the local wine clubs that are here, they're fabulous, they're great, but they're a little bit slower paced. We've got some older demographics. It's just, I wanted that, but just a little bit more fun. And so I put a post out on the Mount notice board, and it blew up. It got like 200 comments overnight saying, turns out everybody else was looking for the same thing, a fun wine club with food, wine, company. We caught up every now and then, and they were all looking for it, and they were all commenting, if you make it, we'll come. If you make it, we'll come. Do it. And I think I was the only one crazy enough to do it. And so I collected all that, and I don't know, this wasn't even intentional. And then I made a Facebook group, a private Facebook group, and said, if you want to be a part of this movement, add yourself to the group. And it was like 400 people overnight or something. It was ridiculous. It just grew because everyone added their friends. And then it turned into, let's do the inaugural night. Let's do our first night. So we went to Mark at Pizza Library. He actually commented on the post and said, I'll host. So the community actually created this. So I was looking for it and was crazy enough to start it and I guess take the lead and turn it into something. There was a few people along the way that were helping me, but they still had their own jobs. So I kind of put my hand up and said, look, I'm just going to take it and run with it and turn it into a business as such. And Mark said he wanted to host it. So this is before ticketing sites, before I figured out anything, and people just emailed me and deposited money into my account, which covered the wine tasting, the catering, yada yada. And I had a live singer. I had James come along, local guy. Who was my wine tasting? I had Rowan from Euro Vintage, I think, come and do the wine tasting. I had Over the Moon cheese. I had cheese reps and sell cheese. It was amazing, but the community definitely wanted this. And it was quite cool to see how that all came together. Really cool.
And you answered the call.
Yeah, I did. It was. I've now turned it into a bit of a business with the help of Anthony and helping me structure it, because it was a little bit chaotic at the start. Because it's a lot of hours. It's a lot of work. that people don't see. They see an event that pops up online and they can decide if they want to buy a ticket or not and turn up. They don't see the hours and hours of work at home, learning how to use Canva, how to make an event poster, how to do a ticketing site to open up a business. There's so much that I didn't know about. But it's been quite fulfilling to learn.
It started in a beautiful way, organically.
Yeah, it was completely
with the
organic.
Community for the community.
And there's a lot of people that came to my first event. I think there was 70 people. We packed 70 people into the pizza library, had an amazing time, wine tasting, food, live music. On a Tuesday night, 70 people sold out. Some people that came to the very first one are still coming to the same events now, like a good year and a half on.
And you're also helping those businesses as well, because for their own marketing and bringing people visibility, it's so important for them.
Yeah, well, normally on a Tuesday night, they would not be doing a whole lot, especially because our first one was about the 25th of July, so it's very quiet down the mount there. Restaurants are struggling to get anybody in there in winter, so I just jumped around a few different restaurants just because I didn't want to do the same thing each time. The same wine tasting and food, but different venues, so that you felt like you had a different experience. And then what I quickly started to notice is that a lot of people brought all of their friends together for these events, which was so cool because it's turned into what I hoped it would be. It's turned into a community event. So you turn up, you see me release an event, the tickets are online, and then you see about 5 or 8 tickets just go through in one hit. So that means people are buying it for their friend catch up there, or the couples are joining in together. And it's like I'm creating these events so they can all just meet up with, monthly by monthly. So that's probably the most rewarding part of the whole thing.
And what's the next for the Seaside Sippers?
So Seaside Sippers will keep trucking along with some just amazing events, fun events. So what we have coming up at the moment is the Seaside Sippers Summer Series. So last year I did the Italian wine tasting, put you all on a bus, went out to Paongaroa, went to the trading post, beautiful night in Italy, drunk beautiful rosés under the sun. That was last year's summer series. So this year I wanted to do something different, and we are going on the Kewpie Cruises, awesome local boat that's been around for a long time. We're going to do a beer wine tasting with the awesome brewery from Ed from Alchemy Street Brewery. He'll be coming on board, doing an awesome selection of craft beers. We've got a chef coming on board as well, cooking up a beautiful gourmet barbecue. We've got Finn Curtis music. So we have that one. And then also for my wine lovers, I'm doing a wine tasting cruise as well. So that one's doing very well. Already half sold, which is great. Beautiful wine tasting, Kewpie Cruises, taking it down a notch, acoustic music, slightly different vibe, but still beautiful experience. And then, so that will be the summer series, the Seaside Sippers Summer Series, out tasting on the boats, why not? The next one will be, because I am sharing my story with MS, and I'm ready to share my story with MS, I'm going to be helping with the MS charity event that's coming up. So it'll be on the 5th of April, and we're just going to be talking about MS, educating people in a real fun way. So I'm going to put my little sprinkle of Seaside Sippers on it. And it's going to be Hawaiian themed. So it's going to be the Island Breeze benefit. We are going to encourage everybody to get out their island t-shirts. We're going to have drums. We're going to have a tiki bar doing some beautiful rum cocktails from Amada Spirits, live music. So if you want to help with that, the best way to help is just to get a ticket. We have sponsor tables. We need sponsorship if you would like to go the next step. But just as the everyday guy, you can just get a ticket. Come, buy a couple of drinks, dance. That will help immensely in a way you just don't even realize. So that's the big one on the horizon for Seaside Sippers that's going to be helping with.
Are there any exciting events or projects coming up for the foundation?
So I have a few things on the horizon. So with Seaside Sippers, I'm going to keep doing these really fun tasting events, whether they're big or small. Carnival's a hoot, so that's coming back. Keep an eye on that.
Cool.
But for the foundation, I'll be doing less events, but more quality-driven events. So I have an idea that this is just in the planning stages. I just need the help from the community for this. So I would like to do a big Christmas in July event that the proceeds would go to a local charity, a local Christmas charity that is about giving gifts, presents to children that don't get anything at Christmas. So those really low decile families, you forget that some kids actually don't get anything on Christmas Day. So it's remembering those littler ones. So it'll be a big, beautiful Christmas in July. I think long tables, feast, Christmas music, wear your old Christmas jumper, Christmas hats. It'll just be about coming together, sharing and eating as a community, and the way you can help is just by buying a ticket. There'll be no sponsor tables, none of that, just big community feast essentially. We do need sponsors for the event because there's a lot of costings that go into an event, and for this to be a profitable event, for the profits to go to the organisation, we need support from the community. So you can come to me, you can let me know if you want to be a part of it, reach out, I can curate the event with you. Or just simply be a sponsor and I'll do the rest. Simple. So there's a few different ideas. Another idea, a disco for kids. So I've got my little guy Charlie coming to me asking me to do an event for him. This would be the perfect situation for this. So just a simple disco for kids, fun things, non-for-profit, easy peasy. So there's a few different ideas that I've got up my sleeve.
So you're bringing other fun to the community,
Yeah.
plus helping and giving back to the community.
Yeah, and that is the key right there. Yeah.
And how people can find you, or how people can get in touch with you?
So socials, I'm always not far away on socials. I'm very quick on that. My website, I've got all my connections through the website. Google, I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. So
Everywhere.
Call me, reach out to me. It's just me. It's just Sam. So just reach out to me and we can chat.
What advice would you give to someone facing a big challenge?
After going through what I went through, which is something I didn't think I'd have to go through, and at a young age, I think glass half full. It could always be worse. It could be so much worse. Like you're breathing, you're alive. Modern day medicine is beautiful as well. Like, don't be closed off to it. There's a lot of things you can do and carry on with your life. But mental health is a big one. Something like that can definitely suck you up when you get diagnosed with something that isn't curable. I think that is the scary part. So you are in control of your mental health and how you feel. So you need to prioritize that massively. Tell people when it feels too much. Cry when you need to cry. There were so many nights in the beginning where I just had a shower and just cried. Because you needed to let it out. Because if you didn't, it would just bottle up. Let yourself feel like it's shit that it's happening to you. That's okay. And then again, feel good again. And endorphins, you need to ride that wave, you know? You need to get fresh air and sunshine.
Totally.
The sunshine will make you feel better. 100%. Don't sit in the room and cry. Cry outside. Cry outside in the sun.
In nature.
Yeah, cry in nature with sunglasses on.
Swimming, surfing.
Yeah. But I think it could always be worse off.
Yes.
So
definitely.
you need to remember that. Yeah. That it will get better. You'll have bad days and then good days. But yeah.
It's so important, especially now. People are more trained to, not speak up about their emotions and about their struggle, or pretend that they are living something. Really comparing our lives with someone else's life, I think.
And you don't know what they're living behind closed doors. Yeah. Sometimes the most put together influencers, they're probably the biggest one. They look so put together with what they show online,
perfect.
with social media, so freaking perfect, but yet they're at home probably sad and depressed about the content and the views and this and that. So
depending.
Yeah, and you just need to live and focus on your life and your mental health and make sure that you have your good and bad days, and that's okay to have good and bad days.
And how community is important to help you with, with all the situations in your life, right? How we need people.
Well, let people know if you're not feeling okay. Because how can somebody help you? How can your community help you if they don't know that you're struggling? That is a big thing. That is a massive thing, especially in New Zealand. New Zealand culture is terrible at this because we lived in Australia for 8 years. And I don't think they're as closed off as Kiwis. Kiwis, for such a small country, we're very segregated and we kind of stick to our little ways. Aussies talk a little bit more. They're a bit louder and obnoxious.
Brazilians.
They probably, yeah, and I think Aussies drink a bit more, so maybe it brings out a bit more emotions. But yeah, talk about it. People can't help you if you don't tell them. That's for sure.
Yeah, as you say, the village is really important.
And the village
to
is
help.
there if you use them.
I think so. Kiwis are very compassionate, are beautiful people, but they need to know. We need to tell people. And I think digital, the social media, we can use social media, the power of the digital, to help others and to talk about. And that's something that we are so passionate about at Light Up, because we want to share people's stories, put it out there. You might be helping someone that are going through the same situation or different situation and different, business, a big challenge in business or a big challenge with their kids.
Well, that's why we connected as well, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
I shared my story, not straight away, but over time, and we connected, and we liked the way. I don't necessarily love social media. I'd rather just turn it all off and go be in the dirt with my boys. But this is the way the world is, and this is the way that you market an event. So
me too.
Yeah, so
it's not my. I don't love to be on my phone all the time,
but we need to.
I know I can help people to share their story. So it's not like just doing a marketing.
So that's where we connect, is that we liked the storytelling.
Yeah.
So I don't know if some people notice it, but when we advertise for the events, we try to put as much personality and soul into those posts. So it'll still carry through with the foundation. We'll just go a little bit deeper in, because there's going to be a bigger story behind them, as opposed to just a host and a rep. There's going to be a whole lot of meaning to pull on all the heartstrings.
And what's your biggest why?
Why I do what I do.
Exactly that question.
Why I'm doing it.
Why do you do what you do? And also, combining to your foundation and Seaside Sippers and family.
I think what I've learned through doing what I'm doing, even just as my babies are getting older and they're not needing me as much, like my big one's at school 5 days a week, my little guy's at daycare 4 days. They just don't need me as much. They're growing up. What is my purpose? So I've started to be like, what is my purpose on this earth? My husband is taking over his businesses. That's great, but I need something. And I thought that was Seaside Sippers, which I love, but it was missing something. So now I feel like this foundation is bringing it all together, and it is helping me with, I guess, my why, my purpose, what I want to achieve in this lifetime. We're not on this earth for very long, and I think we need to leave something behind. And I feel like I've got a little bit of an obsession with community, so this will bring a community, and this will help a community. So this just seems to tick a few boxes, definitely.
Beautiful. What's your message for business owners that they are working hard to grow their business or to be even bigger? Do you think they should be also how they should be giving back to the community, and what would make them feel?
I think New Zealand, again, going back to New Zealanders, are a little bit closed off. I think they forget that they're all just humans. It doesn't matter how successful their business is. It's just a man and a woman. They're just humans. That is all they are, with a marketable product, and that they need to add that human element to their business, whether that's through a charitable donation or hosting an event space or just anything. But put yourself in front of the camera. Who cares what people think, what you look like or what you do? You need to add that human aspect. And what we're noticing is we're not seeing a lot of it. They're becoming ChatGPT. They're becoming the algorithm. It's all AI. You need to add the human element to it, because then the emotional side, people can connect to it. Especially and that can resonate in any industry. So with my husband, with heat pump installs, pictures of the guys doing the heat pump installs in the homes, you can relate to that. Events, people at an event smiling, cheersing to each other. So it goes across the whole range, but people need to learn to connect a bit more. And that even just goes back to networking, the old networking meetings. They are still there. People just aren't utilizing them. Or people are going for the wrong reasons. They're going and they're quietly sitting on the side, because I went to one recently and people aren't, they're often their little cliques. It should be more communal, where you come together, you share a feast together maybe. But we're getting there, but
Sharing
I
your
think
energy, your story.
yeah,
And
I think the pandemic made us close down a little bit, so we just need to open up a bit more. And it's a very, very small town. Everybody knows everyone here,
that's
so
why your event
we should be
is
working
so,
together.
That's
yeah.
why your event is so important.
Yeah.
To bring that human connection back.
We'll just bring some
And
fun as well.
Share stories.
Bloody fun.
Share how everybody's struggling
Yeah.
different ways and how to help each other.
And my events can also bring a little bit of money to everyone. I mean, they don't work for free.
Exactly.
The venues get catering money. The hosts, they ideally get the bottle sales off the tastings they're doing.
When you help someone, you're actually helping yourself too,
Yeah.
because you're also getting recognition.
It feels good.
It feels good, which is the most important thing. Your frequency is.
And then to see
so
people happy
elevated.
at the event that you've curated, that's like the golden ticket.
Yeah.
That's the best feeling.
Well, I just love your story, and I think by doing this, sharing a story, it can help so many lives and also businesses to go out there and help and start giving back to the community, to a charity. It's so many out there. Just Google it, and you're doing this. You're creating your own foundation. You're putting. It's so hard to share your personal story. For us Brazilians, it's so easy because we are brought up sharing and talking and going crazy, which is it's normal.
What is it? You feel big, you love big, or something?
yeah. We're very passionate.
Yes.
We're very intense.
And we're still learning how to be that.
But as well, we are learning so much from Kiwis. I prefer living here because of the quality of life, and I think this sharing coaches this. It's really important, and you're doing all of this, and you should be proud of yourself. And I'm really happy. We are really happy to connect with you and your story and help to spread the word out there.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Sharing my story.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I'm Camila Sanchez. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Light Up Talks. Do you have a story you want to share? Come and get in touch. And stay tuned for the next one.